On the other side.
Right, call to order. Do we have any citizen comments in via email or no? All right.
Make a citizen's comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I have been following the BBB. And one of the things, the big beautiful bill, the House Bill 1. And one of the things that we need to make people aware of, the waiver issues that we have in Idaho for Medicaid are in actual an issue right now. Everything else is like 2026, 2027.
Yeah.
But the waivers are special grants. And the people who are getting them, like HCBS, home care based services, I want to start talking to your legislators now just about what a savings that is from keeping people out of long-term care facilities and such. Because I don't know that they're well educated. That's
They are
just for
not.
people in general, because it's something that is a risk at risk. I'm done for a citizen comment.
Madam Chair, when you say they are not, you mean the clients or the agencies are
The
not?
agencies.
Are
The
not.
agencies aren't even,
They don't know what.
as of my departure at OUI 7-1.
They're not there anymore.
No, our employment is no longer mutual. The state still wasn't sure even about what rules were still going to be in effect. There have been people fighting and talking to legislators for months about the changes.
Yeah,
And that was just the Idaho bill. So now that the BBB is going through,
CMS has been dumped with a lot of stuff, and the regulatory issues and such like that. I don't know how they apply to the waivers. So,
There's a lot of people that don't know how they apply yet. That's actually where I was. I was at a board meeting for the Idaho Healthcare Association, and there's a lot of ambiguity right now still, and so they're still trying to sort all of that out. So,
I prefer to refer to the bug, the ugly bill.
Yes, I agree.
there's nothing beautiful about
I haven't had time to look at it, but the New York Times had a very, at least online, comprehensive list from the bill. What are the changes? What does this cut? And when does it take effect? It's literally like 12 pages, a 12-page chart.
of their synopsis.
If it can be printed and copied easily, I might try to create something for people.
Yeah, that would.
But it's a lot to read, really is a lot to read.
It was in the, what?
There's New York Times.
When?
Oh, like literally, I think the 3rd of July, the day that the House of Representatives approved it, and before the president signed it, because it wasn't the 4th of July.
on to discussion items. We have a civic optimize update.
Yeah, I sent you guys some emails. It's.
I only got one email from Lorraine. That was the only email.
I can give some comments on it.
No, I think there was another one.
I might have not got your new email.
That might be fair.
Okay.
Oh.
After
I'm okay with me.
the last meeting, I went up and talked to the lead person on it, and they have gotten very far. And a matter of fact, they're in currently right now, a beta test. And I have a link for it, and I have been doing beta testing. I have been putting in things that actually is functioning quite well. I think it would be good to have some use by the people on the Disability Advisory Commission, or just to make some comments. Like, one thing I know that they have as a default is the city doesn't have to, you don't need the city to respond. From my use and prior experiences, it's best if it defaults to respond. Because then you've got a clear communication, and particularly you know that it's done. And they've already had one task that was up at the early morning with my grandchildren, who get up at 5:30, and my job is to entertain them until they go to summer camp at 9. Went to Binder Park, and the iron blower was just running continuously in the bathroom.
They were heating the bathroom?
It was just not stopping.
Yeah, the auto shut off.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the hand?
The hand
The hand
blower,
blower, okay,
yeah.
not the,
Essentially, so he.
yeah.
So it was rather warm, and I thought, well, it was down. I made a comment on it, and took me maybe a minute do all of it. I didn't take a picture of it. And within 3 days, I got the response back immediately that had been submitted. They sent an email. And then within 3 days, I got because I asked for a response. They said that issue has been taken care of. And,
When you're, so right after I got the email from Nikki, I also did a request. I went ahead and did the community center and that door just because
Oh, thank you.
we're testing the program, right?
that's exactly it.
And so I did that. I had a response within probably 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I had a follow-up response the next day stating, hey, we're still, working out to who this should go, et cetera, but this is a test of the program and it's working. I felt really good about it. It was very simple, actually.
Yeah, very
I had
simple.
0 issues with it on my end. And I feel comfortable enough with it that I could be able to show that to potential clients and other people that might need help down the road. So I'm really happy with it.
I have the link, which I was sent in the email, and I just told it to add the link to my homepage.
Mhm.
So now I've got it right here. And that's what comes up.
I love it.
And I actually had an issue yesterday. I was coming down from, I gave blood for Red Cross. There's a sidewalk where there's been this huge lift. And if you're not careful, if you hit it at speed, it's gonna toss you backwards or forwards in a powered chair. At night is when it's most likely to happen. So all I did is I hit street sidewalks and traffic. Hit sidewalk issues. And this is report one. I actually should have some way that I get to what have I submitted. That's what I just now realized. I don't think I can get to what I submitted, but I have copies of it. And anyway, it was just, I was able to take a picture of it. Say yes, give me a response, and I don't think I've heard anything yet on this, but it's working as it should, and it's time to get a good beta test. I can think of 2 things now.
Madam Chair. That's my question. How did you access it? How did you access it? Is it on the city's homepage?
No,
Nobody sent a link?
Well, now that I haven't seen. You sent a link to city documents.
No.
No,
Yes, to the page.
I mean, a link, yeah, a link.
A link to all
Send
of
an
you.
email to us, that
Mhm.
provides a link for us to test it. It is
Yeah.
not open to the public.
I went online and I couldn't find it really quick, and if it's
I was
being beta
surprised it's
tested.
beta testing, you wouldn't generally do that. but
Right, you would.
I would,
I'm so glad that you stepped in about the community center, because I wouldn't have thought about it. And yet it's on my mind constantly, every time I go there, and I was just there.
I have an
Couple
update
days
for you
ago.
later.
Okay.
There it is, right
And,
here.
but I have a blind corner that has bumped. Traffic intersection corner, so that's what I'm gonna use, just the fixing it is going to not be easy because it's commercial.
Should we pause for a moment? Oh no, we're at forum. Never mind.
You need a hand mic?
What was my reading?
He's going to get his phone.
Oh, okay. Yours kind of heavy?
yeah,
Yeah, it opens on the outside, which is.
Wait a minute,
I would say that. would
that's an
be-
electric door, but.
That's not an
door,
electric
it's not an
door.
electric door.
And my guess is, I'm gonna put my helmet on this. So I don't put it on show. This door is in violation of the, it has to be less than 5 pounds, or 5 pounds or less. That one's not.
Oh, you can test it.
That I can do.
I'll put in a request here.
Good.
Is there
That doesn't surprise me.
electric door on the front of City Hall, or is the side the only one?
The side, it's the only one.
Just the side?
Yeah, that's the intended ADA access.
But well,
But there is
you
a
have
ramp.
ramp here, you have a
You do.
gigantic ramp here, but the
But the
door,
door
Right
is
up front,
probably
the door doesn't.
decades old.
How often is this room used for meeting?
With the public,
Yeah,
twice a month,
that's all. really.
yeah, like this
Because it
meeting you
used to
already,
be-
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be a lot, city
Yeah.
council doesn't hold sessions.
Every once in a while, there'll be like a special session in here.
Yeah, but they're usually over the Bell Building or the library. Rarely are there public meetings.
Sorry to get off topic, but so yes, so I have to find her email
I
for
will
that link
re-forward
and
it.
then test it with a concern, and it can be any concern,
We should get
any
that.
concern about city services.
Yeah, so there's options,
Yeah.
and I think there's even an other, I think other cuts to Leah and I. So if for some reason you can't find
But
the,
it needs to be
The
city
subject.
services.
Yes.
People can't put things, I mean, my God, what we hear in our office. Like, we need more retail in the valley.
no, it's not for that.
Like, you're talking to the wrong entity here. We need more specialists.
No, it would be for breaking the sidewalk, falling
Dump truck
tree,
branches,
vacant,
Code enforcement.
car code enforcement,
yeah,
dead animal.
yeah, abandoned vehicles.
Yeah, making a report in that door right now.
Those are heavy cuts.
I know, whenever I forget, I try to pull it open from the outside.
Well, parks of, this would be under parks and facilities. So
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
If a sidewalk was falling to pieces, so it was uneven and very, very unsafe, but it's on private property. Yeah, not a city thing, a walkway
Well,
within an apartment complex. Is that a violation of law or is that just a cosmetic thing for the landlord?
I have no idea.
Can they be cited? Well, I'm just saying, I mean, a tenant could ask, because I saw that recently with a client that we picked up. The internet picked up and it's like, this is dangerous. But other than making a request to the landlord, I don't know if the landlord is, well, it would be liable if there was an accident and you
Yes.
do them.
Yeah,
But I don't know if they can be cited for it, is my
I don't know if they
question.
can either. Code enforcement can do anything about private.
You know
property.
something?
I thought I did, and no, because I was looking at, landlord, responsibility to disability, modifications within a home. And it's a lot like just with the ADA, that as long as it's a reasonable request, which sounds to me like, then they have to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's not within a home, it's just a law.
Well, not within a, but
But it's within
Within
an
the-
apartment.
Of the
complex.
complex.
And it's a commercial property, then it should.
I guess you would technically call it that. I just don't know who would have enforcement.
I don't either.
It's pretty dangerous, what I saw.
I can tell you right now that it would be generally online complaint to the Department of Justice. But that department's been, I mean, within a week, everyone was resigned and over there. They're not taking anything. Then Idaho has a Human Rights Commission, which I don't know its current status. They've been very, very good at basically mediating responses. And they've been very timely in the past, in my view. But federal, yeah, every night that could be dug in, so.
Okay, thank you.
any more discussion on civic optimize?
Well, could it be on next, it sounds like we're all gonna give it a try or something. Could it be on next month's agenda? So it's not under comments, so we can legally talk about it. Under old business or, well, I guess discussion items, not an active agenda. So could it be carried over?
Yeah.
So we can legally talk about it, like we're legally talking about right now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Civic optimize.
The comment, I don't know. They're working on the workflow, and actually, there are three things now that I can see that would come up often and aren't really addressed in this woman that they have, would be pretty simple to add. That's the type of information we could add, give them some clarification or direction, we can have that next week.
All right, moving on to pedestrian
Excuse
rights.
me.
Oh,
Grab one thing. I would say kudos from us to the IT department and the person doing this development. They're doing quite well.
I'd like to throw my thumb up in that direction as well.
I
think
have
it's good.
one more question, sorry, about what you said. So obviously I'll learn it when I use it myself. So when you submit something, you don't get an auto-generated receipt back saying, thank you, we have received your concern.
I believe I got that.
You do.
You do within a minute.
So you get a receipt back and then you said, then you got an answer back
I got a follow-up later.
within a few days or hours.
The structure is, it's very much like the ticketing system that they've always had in IT and have been built pretty well. Where there's an item that comes in And it's got what it is, and then it gets assigned to a person, and it also sends back your ticket, receive it, whatever, this number, whatever. And then it follows, and then it stays there and is sent, and reminders are done until its tag is finished, and that the ticket's closed. And this is basically what that is, and there's some components of that missing. Like, well, that's for comments later. This,
Yeah, I think in my opinion, we let them keep cooking, cause I'm liking what they've got going, and I think they're moving definitely in a positive direction.
I just checked it out. Any other further discussion? On to pedestrian rights and driver responsibilities. Regarding state law as it applies to pedestrian rights.
Was someone gonna report?
You all got emails, reports.
I do have,
Yeah.
you like me to read?
Please. Mr. Bruce.
So the first thing was email from Jennifer Tingono, is that something? Eric, thank you for your message. I do not believe any clarification is needed as the original question was focused on the rights and duties of pedestrians and motorists at intersections with crossings. That question was answered directly and accurately. The slideshow presentation you shared offered a broader overview, including discussion of intentional crimes involving disabled pedestrians. However, the topic was not within the scope of the question presented by DAC, nor was I asked to provide a comprehensive legal analysis of every Idaho code. To be clear, in the event a motorist intentionally targets a disabled person, there's a specific criminal statute that may apply, along with other general criminal offenses depending on the circumstances. However, that was not the question at hand. Finally, I would respectfully clarify that your statement suggesting it is a criminal offense to fail to yield to an quote, obviously, end quote, disabled person is still incorrect, particularly in situations where the individual suddenly leaves a place of safety to enter the roadway. The legal duty to yield is subjective to context. Violations in such scenarios are generally civil in nature unless accompanied by aggravating factors that elevate the event to a criminal act. I hope that this provides clarification you were seeking in the interplay between my advice letter and your slideshow presentation. She did submit the code as well. And I can keep reading if you guys want, but this was all in the email as well.
What was the date of the email?
Well, I received this email today.
oh, I haven't seen it.
So she sent an advice letter out originally.
Yeah.
And, that answered the question that was asked at the meeting last month.
And I've got a comment that will actually support what you're saying.
So this issue, which I know the intent was, is to sort of broad to look at the whole topic, but it was brought up because of the death of a pedestrian in the evening on 21st Street. A month ago, or more than a month ago, we discussed it at last month's meeting, right? I don't know if you all know that the person who was struck and killed was a very prominent person. And I chalk it up to the Tribune's lack of digging into a story deeper than just reprinting the police report. So I believe it's Dennis Diaz, Dr. Diaz, was struck and killed. And he was still practicing. We deliver clients to his office. Now, I don't know what he was doing there at 10 o'clock at night. I don't know why he was crossing 21st Street, not in a parking lot or not in a crosswalk. And as far as I know, I sometimes miss a newspaper. Even his obituary has not appeared in the paper. Did anyone else see it in the last month? So we in our office have a special interest, although not that we're like close to him. But I was just rather surprised, although I shouldn't be, that the Tribune hasn't followed up with anything. And I don't know if there was a police investigation. The original article said the police were investigating the circumstances. And they probably closed the investigation and it just never ends up in the Tribune. But I think the reason Eric brought it up initially was, well, was somebody at fault here? And it's the truck driver, or pickup driver, going to be cited? Were they doing something wrong? Were they speeding? Was Dr. Diaz? Why would someone try crossing 21st Street at 10 o'clock at night in the dark, not at a crosswalk?
It sounds as though there might be some personal things involved in that. I don't know.
Well,
It might
maybe,
scare
I
them.
just, if there's not exactly a way to help prevent this in the future without knowing if there was a problem to begin with. She's the chair, don't look at me.
Yeah. She's right in the way that this is a mess. The way that it's there, and the opinion is a legal opinion. The issue will come to the courts, and the courts will give an answer on whether it's applicable or not. So it's definitely a gray area, but it's definitely an area that people should be concerned about. Liability issues in general, when you see someone that you know who is disabled and they are in a crosswalk or such like that, you have, if that person is injured or killed, you're in a different ballgame for liability, and that's what's in here, and that's clearly in there. The issue was brought forward by the Idaho Foundation or the Idaho Federation of the Blind, and who use white canes, not all. And it was clarification of basically what we call the white cane law. And the white cane law is been adopted in almost every state. It's a policy where if you have someone who's blind or they put in the hearing of a dog, those ones are defined as now they're disabled individuals. There are definitions that later in the penalty area define what disabled mean, and it's basically anybody who's disabled as per the ADA. Okay, and we were going to make the cleanup to them in 2022 or 2023, we're trying for it. But that's when the legislature started getting kind of interesting. And as with the ADA on the federal level, there are things that we can always fix in the ADA, but we don't. I've been over there and we've talked about it, but we run into the issue of Pandora's box. Once you open the door on a fix like something like that, you do not know what you're going to end up with in legislative issues. So that has not been cleaned up. I know what the intent was. And that they've got the statute there for only if you use a white cane and you're not blind, you use a felony or something like that. Well, basically, all you'd have to do now to come under this is put a white cane on, like my wheelchair. And I qualify. As Sol was saying, but it is there, it is the white cane law, it was intended to do basically what I'm saying. But it's a mess because it needs cleaning up. But right now, the legislature's worse.
That's a state law.
State.
It is state law. It's Idaho Code 49706, in case you're worried. And that was addressed in that letter as well. That was dated July 7th, so you
Yeah,
did get a chance to do that. And she did include the code associated with that.
and I agree with her analysis. But it's only a legal opinion, and that's all it is.
Well, it's current law, so I mean,
It's an opinion on current law.
Okay.
There's a lot of difference from when you have that in there. You also have outside the area of, like, there's clarification, there are now actually legislative minutes, et cetera, that come into play. So it's a mess is what it is. But the intent was pretty clear.
Which this might not have much to do with the end of the question, but I mean, how do you
We're just in,
appear to be disabled?
Appear to be disabled?
Well, that's good. It
Well,
appears to be
wheelchair.
at what, but that's the very obvious. But
And
what
that-
about the not so obvious? Like at what point?
That comes to the question of intent. Because it talks about in this criminal things, if you intend. Okay, well, it's a question of what kind of intent, because there's criminal intent. And there's just intent. In the meaning that you're aware of these circumstances, and this is what the law was basically structured around, because I think it's a mess. If you see someone, they've got a white cane and a dog and they're wearing sunglasses. You're gonna presume they're disabled. You see someone who's walking in a very funny way. The presumption would be what would the average person think? You see Mike walking through the door. And it's just like, you see, he has a disability. So that's the question that comes up, and it's actually there. We had one case where a semi driver, a truck driver, stopped at a red light, casually noticed a person standing on the corner with sunglasses on. And then he just went forward and turned and killed her because she stepped out because she was blind. The only indication that she was blind was she wore sunglasses.
Not good enough.
Yeah, and that's, the case came to that point. It wasn't, the average person wouldn't think of what they were disabled.
What a shame. How about mental illness? We're big enough that
These are older
the
people.
valley always has a good 1 to 3 or 4 traffic shelters. The people, we've all seen. People on the sidewalk waving their fists and screaming at the traffic going by.
These rules apply equally to all individuals. Again, there's no separate provision for people with
Okay,
disabilities.
that's her opinion.
Well, right.
You can't get around that. She says it's a legal opinion. She's not a judge. I'm not a judge. I haven't made a decision in court. I can tell you that will come up in court. Right, and so the law is not black and white. The law is big with a lot of different things in it. As the BBB has been well defining.
And I suppose, I'm thinking specifically, I did have a participant who got hit by a car.
Mhm.
He does not remember if the crosswalk said to go. The sun was in the driver's eyes and she was turning right and struck him.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of talk later about whether or not he could have sued her.
Yes.
But he was really leaning on the disability aspect because he didn't remember about the crosswalk. And so, it just seems like that can really muddy things, and I don't know if there is ever any clear way to.
One of the things that's interesting in her statement is crosswalk, a legal crosswalk. And we have Dr. Diaz passed at really technically an intersection, a T intersection. In other words, it's a full cross street, but he's going from a corner more or less to a place across the street that's Kmart, Taco Time, or Taco Bell, whatever. All right, from what you were just saying, and what I think she said, it has to be a crosswalk, meaning does it painted? Is it actually tagged as such? When you go up and down Fane, they exist now, but they're a hell of a long ways apart.
Pedestrians are obligated to utilize marked crosswalks. That is
Okay.
the expectation.
And if you go into the stuff that I have, it's not saying any word.
What was that verb again? Pedestrians or what?
I threw obligated, but
I thought you were close.
I can
The
directly.
letter. No, that's okay.
Well, no, it's what it says.
Pedestrians shall obey the instructions of any traffic control devices specifically applicable. This one, pedestrians right of way to crosswalks when.
How does a disabled person who's blind
Depends
And
if
if they
the front
don't
part
have the
is
white
painted
paint.
or not.
actually follow those orders?
Yeah, well, there's no good answer.
Yeah, there is. Put up a signal that actually beeps. Which most large cities do.
Madam Chair. So just a little bit of data that I heard on a public radio report just this morning. And there was another report a day or two ago about pedestrian accidents and injuries and deaths. But of course, it's nationwide. So the number of pedestrian deaths, I believe it is, for 2024. And it's probably a report from the Department of Transportation. I'm not sure. Someone wanted to research it. Number of deaths was down a little bit from 2023. But both years are like a nationwide high above pre-COVID numbers. And so it's on the radar screen of the whole country. I think maybe the lowest pedestrian death was 2018, they said, or 2017. And for some reason, and I don't know why pre-COVID, I don't see how COVID has anything to do with this, but it has skyrocketed in the last 5 years or so, 5, 6 years. Then they went on to give a report on the number, the vehicles are heavier, that the number of vehicles on the road that are trucks or SUVs are absolutely enormous. They quoted the number of 80%. And in an accident between a truck or SUV and a pedestrian's not gonna win. Not gonna win. And it's not just the weight of the vehicle either. They said it's the construction of the vehicle because they're heavier. Whatever they call the corner bars between the windshield and the side window are much thicker in width. And they can hide a person behind it in a blind spot that you can't see them. I don't own an SUV, so I'm like listening to all of this. And whatever, it's on the radar screen of the country. If we wanted to, would it be the police department would have data on pedestrian accidents and deaths locally? For the city of Lewiston, if we wanted to look at it more closely, that doesn't necessarily mean those people are disabled though. So maybe it's not in our interest or jurisdiction, but I just saw, and I reported last month how Asotin County Community Services made an effort with Grant to try to communicate to the public, try to raise awareness. But it didn't seem to, not when traffic has gotten so much heavier and people want to get to where they're going as fast as possible. And now we got a traffic circle that 2 days ago I saw somebody driving around the wrong direction. Clockwise instead of counterclockwise.
One of the issues that comes up in this, and it's like you're reading it as this is a strict law, that's all it is. And that possibly, and I haven't researched it, is also using city code. And the city code may be the one saying crosswalks being rolled or stuff, I don't know. And this stuff I'm presenting is all I know. And if you've got the police going on the standard that you're going, well, if Dr. Diaz, let's say he did look disabled and he was crossing there. All right, it wasn't this, so there's no liability of the driver. The driver has the right of way. But at the same time, if he knew that that person was disabled as is defined in the criminal components there, then he would be charged with crime. Now, the police, if they're taking just yours, they wouldn't even go at her analysis, may not even go there. They probably don't know anything about this.
I'm gonna be blank, 'cause I'm not sure what the point is.
The point is the education of the public and particularly the police on the fact that there has been a change in the standard for disabled individuals and their use of the right of way. And how aware is the police department of it? How aware is the legal, how aware of it?
Well, I suppose if there was somebody in that intersection, the truck shouldn't have hit anybody, it doesn't matter whether or not they were, I imagine.
What'd you just say? I mean,
Trucks shouldn't be hitting anybody,
well, that's generally what you want to do, you mean?
but that's why I guess I'm confused about what
If
the
they-
discussion is about, because whether or not Dr. Diaz had a disability, he was unfortunately for him in the wrong spot at the wrong time for this truck.
Let's just say, I'll give you personal examples, if it's okay. Just kind of at count, I would say when I'm sitting there in a wheelchair off the crosswalk or in the street because there is no curb cut or anything else. I would say 8 out of 10 cars don't even think about slowing down to let me go across. Or stopping. There are some, but by far enough, the majority don't. Now, if I had a mental health issue and such that I did go out there and they see me, then they probably have committed the crime that puts in the component there of the area. Now, would the police even know that? And do the public know that? No.
Right, so I guess that's where it should be criminal intent, whether or not you have a disability, if you keep going
Well,
and
it's
strike somebody.
defined, that actually, the disability is defined in the code section. And the question of intent is one for the courts.
It's just that the penalties are more severe.
Yes.
Is it like into like a hate crime then?
It
Like it was
actually,
intentional,
those codes,
that they're getting hit?
Hopefully not.
you're talking about suicidal.
No, I'm saying like if a truck sees you in a wheelchair, I'm like, oh, there goes Eric today, poof. That it was, if it was done intentionally to hit
That one,
you,
that one would be a real crime. But the question is, if they see the person, they just think, well, I got the right of way. And I'll just go ahead.
According to what I'm looking at it, it is black and white.
For that component.
And we are, as pedestrians, obliged to use the
Okay,
crosswalks.
so we'll now read the criminal statutes.
Okay.
And read the one where if their person is disabled. And
There are
you
no-
injure them, no matter where they cross. Then you have strict liability. For damages, that's above and beyond the standard. So it's a confusing area. And the public does not know. I highly doubt the city police know it. And I'm pretty comfortable the city attorney's office is interpreting it in a way that would be, it's kind of disregarding it, but she's disregarding it because the question we asked didn't ask that, and the question wasn't what she had. That just happened to be, and this is nothing to do with you, Nikki. The question that was presented in a crosstalk. And,
If you watched the video.
okay,
Question.
that's good, so then it's, you got a pretty good idea. But, my perspective was anywhere. And she's saying you can't cross anywhere, therefore it's not within the scope of my investigation. So that she did not investigate the components for the other statutes that are in the code that actually do apply. And again, police department is probably low, but she's probably more aware of it now than she was.
well, I think that also sets a dangerous precedent though, if you say, I have a disability, I can cross wherever I want.
Then you're,
Because that opens it up. I know that like our groups, that almost every single one of them has a community safety goal because they
Sure.
do not understand community safety,
Yeah.
even just crosswalks are a thing. So you tell one of them, cross where you want, cars have to stop for you.
not,
I
you're
mean-
not saying that. Saying that if they're there, they're doing it. They're not gonna be, that factor is not gonna actually cut in. The question of the driver. Would they
Drivers should be
presume?
shitty.
Correct, but they do, knowing that person's probably disabled.
I don't
So
think
you
that-
take what's already a sad accident and,
There's gonna be liability.
Madam Chair, unless you talk me out of it, other people, I hope it wouldn't create too much work. But could we ask from the police department a report on pedestrian automobile accidents over the last 7 or 8 years? Has there been an increase within Williston? If there hasn't been, and usually they make the newspaper, well, there certainly makes the newspaper if there's a death. And it's, in terms of death, you're talking single digits, probably well below 5, but any kind of accident like the person you were talking about, this sort of an injury, contact accident. Has there been an increase over this, 7 or 8 years? And if not, should we even be talking about this? But if there has been, are the police already looking at it, thinking about it, considering what to do about pedestrian safety? Can we make that request, Nikki?
I mean, I can ask. But it's probably not gonna tell you whether the person did or did not have a disability and
No,
whether the
no,
driver
no.
did or did not intend to hit the person.
That would,
Yeah, there's a lot of them there.
So I don't know how much it's gonna help you
I know,
specific to
and we're not a traffic. I
ADA.
realize that.
but we are stable.
That anybody
If
who
I
has
have to
anybody who has spent any time at all up in Moscow and Pullman realizes that driving and walking is a completely different world up there. So they are more pedestrian oriented than we are, less automobile oriented. And the drivers are more, shall we say, rural conscious and considerate of pedestrians. They're always looking, they'll always stop everywhere. And I hope I'm not saying something that nobody else knows, because it's seen, it may not be universally known, but people know that, and people who like to walk, even just between stores downtown. Moscow and Pullman people will say, well, I'm very careful down in the valley because people won't stop. Drivers
Right.
won't stop for you. Even if you're in the crosswalk, they just keep going right through. You have to be very careful when you're in the valley compared to when you're up in Moscow and Pullman. And I used to work up there and was aware of it. Of course, it works the other way too, that you're used to just driving past a pedestrian down here. It's like, you better stop up there because they're gonna walk across that highway, college students in front of Palouse Mall, 5-lane road, whether they're in a crosswalk or not, and you better be looking for them. But I've always wondered, what would it take to adjust the behavior of drivers here in the valley, to be more pedestrian aware and pedestrian friendly? And to keep it within the jurisdiction of this committee, especially for people with disabilities. So,
Oh,
because there'll be more deceased people if this matter isn't monitored and attended to.
Well, so is that what, I mean, is that the point of the conversation, is to be asking, like, the police department? I mean, I guess I don't know what the goal is.
yeah, I'll give you the bill. We have nationally White King Day law. And that's to increase public awareness of, and as it was specifically for the blind, has actually become now those people with this person, whoever needs the service for hearing loss. And this is just the same thing. We're just, what do we do to increase the awareness of the general public of like these laws? That they're there, and it's to help avoid deaths and injury. And do we have any business doing that? Would we have any business helping with the white cane law? Same thing. Mark, I think, probably did the best statement that I've heard.
Does that provide enough of a goal?
I don't know. I don't know,
No,
Increase awareness.
Increase awareness.
Process.
I guess,
of the white cane law, or,
okay.
I mean, I would go further and say steps to be taken to improve safety for disabled pedestrians. Did you say, Constance, that OUI provided training to their constituents, or whatever word you use? Participants that you provided training regarding pedestrian safety?
Provided repetition. I don't wanna say training necessarily, but it was something that was spoken about frequently, worked on while out in the public. Because, I mean, every crosswalk is different. Some have wait signs, some don't. Some have flashing lights that tell drivers, like downtown especially is really good at that. Yeah, people waiting to cross, so everyone is different, so that being said, like, there's a lot of, you have to stop, you have to look both ways.
Some of them you have to push a button. I just saw a couple days ago in Clarkston, people trying to cross. They were never getting the walk light because they didn't push the button. The button is like right there, and I thought they must be from out of town. They're not pushing the button. They're never getting the walk light. Even when they could be crossing, the walk light wasn't lighting up.
Another comment. There are far more intersections and places that have no markings, nothing, than there are very few that do, and it's just like commercial lanes. So this applies to the entire city and all the residential roads, I should say. And they don't have defined crosswalks there.
So are we looking for more defined crosswalks? Are we looking for, I do like your idea of the,
Just increase
beep.
awareness.
um,
Well, the beep 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 has been brought up many times. And they do, I don't know if we have one yet, do we?
and I hate to say designated,
An audio
Crossing spaces,
crossing.
but
Clarkson has them.
if it, almost like a bus route, like, you know, like, okay, I wanna get from A to B. I'm gonna go this way because it has
Yeah.
the flashing lights, it has the beep beep, it has this and this. But then you're designating. That feels like,
It's that's a safety issue, and there are already provisions for doing it. And it's just, can they budget for it? They would have to be, and I know Justin would have.
I fail to see the true actionable item that we are going to be able to really do with this at this time.
Well, let's be honest, then, what do we have, what purpose do we have as this disability advisory?
Well, I would say unless we have data that the accidents have increased over the last few years. And especially if any of those accidents pertain to people with disabilities. You're talking about the beep beep. I was, it reminded me being in big cities that have that, but especially, the couple times I've got to travel to Asia. They will have, and when you think about it, it makes so much sense. For the blind people, you have the beep beep, that it's okay to cross the street. And the beeping speeds up as the time is running down. They're beep, 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 so they know they gotta get to the curb. Okay, that doesn't help deaf people. Okay, for the deaf people, instead of the walk sign, for the don't walk sign, it was a red hand. For the walk sign, it was a walking man. Do, 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 in the box, and as the time's running out, the man's running further, and I thought, oh, okay, that's for deaf people who can't hear the beep beep. And, you know, you're in a city of 2 million people, they can afford those kinds of technologies. But clearly somebody gave that a lot of thought about how to make those intersections safe for people of all abilities. Well, that's not gonna happen here. Unless we had a really large cluster of disabled, visually, well, every kind of disabled people. People in, I'll tell you, people in wheelchairs that are not electric are self-propelled. Getting across 5 lanes of traffic, boy, that's a lot of muscle power, and you better hurry. You know.
all right, any further comment? Moving on to active agenda, approval of June 12th meeting minutes. I'm gonna set this one out, so here are the minutes.
I have read them, they are perfect.
Oh.
So I would,
I
I would
so that
approve.
there should be more,
I approve it, well.
like that little thumb there.
Well,
too.
last month's, I
Because
guess,
of that.
last month,
Mark Havens.
well, last month it was, I got misgendered, that was all. Anyway.
I fixed it.
Anyway, I move adoption of the June 12th, 2025 minutes of the second thought.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I
Opposed? Okay, future agenda items, we're looking at talking more on civic optimize next time.
well,
We were also gonna put the new Parks and Rec director
Yeah.
and the new facilities, Parks and Facilities manager that starts next week. We're gonna have them come and do this.
that'd be wonderful. And we'll try not to play gotcha with them. Because they're new on the job, so they can't be expected to know absolutely everything.
No, we'll get them the next time.
But I would be interested to know from their prior jobs. The facility manager person, was that an internal? That was also from out of town.
He's local.
Local,
Okay, local, but
not city.
wasn't a city
Not
clerk.
good.
But I always like talking to people who came from elsewhere. They may bring some really good ideas with them, so.
The director.
Yes.
Yes. What, do you have any like, comments for them to prepare to come here?
I've heard great things about Pioneer Park.
Like what?
Just about the ADA accessible equipment that's
Oh,
been
yeah.
installed.
Oh, yeah, people love that.
Playground equipment?
Mhm. It's been a huge hit.
And
That's
it's-
what they got the
People are really
grant for
excited about it.
last year.
My grandkids love putting me on the swing, which is like a big tire, and swinging me.
Oh, the net thing.
Yeah, and trying to make it go out, so it looks like this dead body hanging.
Wait, in your wheelchair, not in your.
Not out of them.
No, it's a big giant round netted ring.
I've been in.
Well, they used to have something, when you did put a wheelchair, it was kind of like a wooden raft.
Where did I see
And
one?
you loaded the wheelchair in and then you tied them down, you had to tie them down, and then you'd swing
It's like
the
a
whole route.
platform.
Like a platform, yeah.
They actually had a metal one up at Pioneer
Yeah.
years ago. But I think kids broke it.
Well, metal can be
Just saw one.
challenging
Oh, must be
in the
a
hot
park.
sunshine. So,
I just saw one in a park and it was kind of fenced off and someone was fixing it.
how about a generic question? Does Parks and Rec have its own like long-term strategic plan? And if they don't have a strategic plan, they probably have a capital improvement plan or something. And do any of the things on there pertain to persons with disabilities? Any additional equipment or additional accessibility or anything special at the community park? You know, I don't know.
You may or may not be able to speak to that.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure. And with new vision might come different long range plans.
Right.
So, but I'll, oh my,
Any other future agenda items? Any liaison coming?
I do, just, I know I keep putting this in an email, but we have a vacancy. So if you know of anyone, applications on the city website, city clerk's office, so.
Well, is the bottom of the agenda true? Does
Yes.
Eric's term expire next month?
Yes, but he's reapplied.
Oh,
Yeah, and the mayor told me I used to.
So it'll probably just be presented to council for their approval.
well, not that this is required, but we have 4 men and 2 women. So it'd be great if the vacancy was a woman. And should we try to recruit from either the disability community or from agencies or people? I don't know, maybe there's somebody up at the hospital, for instance, or maybe there's somebody at one of the rehabilitation.
There is a
Therapy.
person I talked to at LCSC.
Oh,
in
that
the
good.
Forest Department, I can't remember, is Jesse or. He's in a wheelchair, he's a. Quad parent, he still has some use of this, but not total control of his arms in wheelchair, relatively young. But I think he'd have to be. You know, because. He might be able to drive, I don't know. It's just, when you can't drive, it's kind of a burden to come out.
My other comment that will make Mark very happy is I got an email today that the installation for the ADA door at the community center should be completed today. That's the plan.
Um,
Don't hold me to it.
Okay, not
That's the big email.
yes, that's lovely. I was just there last week, not to no, I was just there 2 days ago. For one of those U of I extension workshops. My God, my workshop last week only had 8 people. The one I went to on Tuesday had 40 people. But it was Paul Burris speaking about estates and trust, Eric.
Leah Burke.
Oh, okay.
That's not
Okay.
Again, 40 people in the room.
Yeah.
You know, free legal advice. But anyway, I, should have brought this up before. I didn't think about it. It really is double doors. I mean, there's the outside door, which was the heaviest door. But then you're just in a foyer and then there's another set of doors. Were they gonna electrify both?
I don't think that's the plan because, I looked at the receipt for it. And I think it was only one electric, but I do know that like when we were there Tuesday, they had the internal door just open.
Yes, I was going to say, when I have been there, usually,
It's almost always.
even though, often that's done for environmental control, keep the heat or the area, but yes, it's almost always a door stand and it's kicked open.
It's usually not open in the winter. They usually have that work in the vestibule and keep both sets of doors closed in the winter.
Well, then he
Well,
knows
that's
better
something
than I
you can,
do. But
bring
that-
up with
that-
Justin.
But those
next
doors
month.
aren't quite as heavy as those.
No, they're
They might not.
The last time I tried to open them, but someone brought that to my attention, well, there's two doors there. Now, they also asked if there could have been an electric door on the front of the building, and I said, I don't know, nobody uses the front of the building. Well, they literally don't use the front of the building, it's locked.
No,
The
and I
front
think,
door is locked and it's built inside a courtyard with a fence that's also locked, it's emergency exit only.
yeah, and they looked at the building to make sure that there wasn't any other accessible doors before they.
Well, there's, I mean, far be it from me to speak on their behalf, but there's the Parks and Rec doors itself.
That one, yeah.
And I don't know how heavy it is, but some woman who was trying to, an older woman who was trying to find it, she was in the main building because she wanted to sign up for one of the senior rides that they have. And I took her through the back way. I said, yeah, well, let's not even go outside. It's 112 degrees. I'll lead you through the back corridor, get you into their department. So maybe just one door would be sufficient if you knew where you were going.
Yeah, it's the very front door, is my understanding, the south facing main entrance.
Yeah, the parking lot. No, that's great news. And well, I mean, since you said you saw a bill, may I ask how much it costs?
I think close to $6,000.
Yeah, okay, that's about
It wasn't really the,
what I
like, the
thought.
labor that was costly, it was the
Mechanisms.
itself.
Yeah.
And I think they even noted in here that in the last 6 years, it's increased significantly.
Yes, yes. I talked with someone else who had it installed in their business and they said, well, like 10 years ago, it was only $2,000. I said, no, it's gone up a lot since then.
4 years ago, it was only 4 per door, so that's what we paid.
When you told me it was being funded, I thought you meant in the next year's budget. So they found
No.
money in this year's budget.
Yeah, they, I think,
Well before election day.
I think initially, they've got some plans for that building, so they were gonna kind of add that to the plans.
But
And then, but they were able to kind of just get it done.
They got a ticket from Civic Plus.
Exactly.
So can we go from you? Oh,
No, they were well aware that it was
Comment,
I'm sure that
an
helps,
issue.
we can pretend that.
here's a comment, in the ADA transition plan. That was exactly one of the topics that we had, is when an issue is brought up in between times or whatever else, if if they are able to get it done, just go do it then, so you are sending a message to the public that you're heard. So you just did that exactly.
Carol's doing a good job, I assume it's Carol, emailing out this monthly city email or newsletter,
Newsletter.
assuming well, I'm on it, but I guess it's going out to anyone who has signed up to get it. Could you ask her to do a little article about this? I mean, this is a good thing to, brag about, easy access to the community center for disabled and senior access and for elections, which are only twice a year now. I think that's a good thing, because otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah,
You used to count on the Tribune to cover every little bit of news going on in the city, and those days are over. Oh, yeah.
yeah, she does do a newsletter, so if you haven't signed up for it yet,
Who did?
or, the city,
The
Or-
city,
like outreach coordinator does.
and
a
it's
newsletter.
just getting better and better. And by that, I mean, it's just getting newsier and newsier that you will read about stuff you won't read anywhere else.
There's also a new businesses webpage. That I think she sent out information on maybe last week or so, but every month they update new businesses
Business
for
licenses.
business licensing.
Well, that's great. The chamber doesn't do that.
Yeah, she works with the business license coordinator.
Yeah,
And then they try to do, like, they'll meet with a couple of them and do specialized articles.
yeah, so if you've seen, the magazine, you'll see that any of those new businesses, like, she'll sometimes pick one and do a whole article on them. Like, I think this quarter's one was on LC, Advanced Health and Wellness that just opened here not too long ago. She's done
And
one
an article on the smoothie place.
article on the smoothie place and
Smoothie.
Oh, I remember
So
seeing
it's up
that.
in the orchards by the locksmith place.
Mhm.
called Malama Smoothies.
This is a PB&J
So good.
with strawberry protein and greens.
You said smoothie place. I thought you said movie. Movie.
There's a new hair place that provides like,
Wiggle
wigs
wigs for people that have conditions where they've lost their
that lost
hair.
their hair. So, yeah,
That's a new business.
you should check it out.
Would you do me a favor and email me the link to that?
Mhm.
I don't have it yet, but I will subscribe.
Before next week, we can see if Carol has any extra
Magazines. If you wanna take a look, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, printed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the newsletter is more regular though.
And I think
Yeah, I
the
think it's more than
magazine,
once a month. I think she's trying to get.
well, I think it's like trying to get as much.
Like as
time
their
we can.
information
Yeah.
out.
And I think if you sign up, you also, do you get a link to the magazine?
I mean, my,
Yeah, so.
Cool. Cool. Suggest the idea, I don't think she does this, how about a profile piece, a city employee?
She does that.
Okay, then.
If you read the magazine, we have
Corbin,
Hay, who's our utility locator. And he does a very
you've probably
nice
seen around town as
presentation,
well.
yeah.
SUV.
Mhm.
Now, where's, how do you
Painting
get
where you.
this? How do you get this newsletter?
Well, this is in the magazine. The magazine is at, city businesses
It's
and
at
city
every city building, and then she distributes it to a lot of
library.
other businesses that have asked for it.
Is it?
It's online.
In the Tribune,
It might,
I don't think the magazine
and
has.
that would be expensive, I
Let
really.
me go see if I can find a couple.
It's online.
I think it's online and you can go online and
Yeah, you
also
can
sign up
put
for
it
her
in
newsletter.
I can't find it easily.
It's more fun to read the magazine on paper. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
glossy, full color, beautiful
I
photography,
mean, they mail it to you.
but it only comes out, doesn't come out.
The magazine comes out quarterly.
Yeah.
The newsletter,
as
might be
needed.
monthly, but as needed, like things to report.
Besides, okay, the profile.
Job openings.
What was the other thing?
Job openings, we send those out all the time. Careers page of the city of Lewiston website.
No, but it really makes you, as she's doing it, you're feeling like you're living in a bigger city that has the ability to do this, and a more vibrant city that wants to communicate with their residents. I mean, that doesn't happen in Clarkston.
It's good outreach.
Yeah, I mean, the magazine had one of them had a recipe from our senior nutrition cook. I think it was either biscuits and gravy or cinnamon rolls. I can't remember which one.
Thank you. So is there a
Yeah,
way that
Living
you-
Lewiston, that's the name.
Yeah, she's been doing these for a couple of years.
Yeah,
Wow.
Well, no,
I think, okay, if it's not out in the Tribune, I must pick up copies of
That's
them
my friend Jamie.
at the library. I know her.
You know her.
Do you wanna join?
So, like I said, that'd be a lot more fun,
Right.
I think, to
Hey, there's
to
your-
read it on paper than.
We're open.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's right there.
Seriously.
Anthony?
Oh gosh, what was- and there is smoothie. huh?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm gonna try that.
And then the majority of it is the like library person rec programs.
Yeah, there's always like a mayor's
The
method.
mayor always had.
Actually, there's a word search.
Oh, I didn't know there was a word search.
You have to do the word search.
So what this did, because much of it is Parks and Recs classes and opportunities, so they used to publish their own.
Yeah.
Publication, so she just sort of snatched it and expanded.
Mhm.
And she combined it with the library.
Oh, the library used to have. it.
They were doing their own program guide and because she wanted one thing from the.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
No.
The library like
How
that.
do you sign, I mean, how do you sign up for this? I don't see it even in the.
I'll
Yeah.
include that in my email when I send you guys the links to like the
Okay.
newsletter and stuff. I'm sorry, I should know and I don't know off the top of my head, but I will send it.
I missed the
in the-
cornhole.
Oh, yeah, that was
Even
really
if-
good. That was with Sparkle.
Star Spangled Banner, Star Spangled Celebration. Oh, that was fun.
That was really fun.
Parks and Rec did a great job on that.
Anyway, those are all my,
Well, that should be a little. Little box in here that says if you would like to receive this electronically, here's how you sign up.
there is an electronic version because and you click through it.
One more thing, suggest or. Oh, no, I guess I just remembered it. I don't think any of you went to the employee appreciation barbecue. I was there, but I didn't see any of you unless you came earlier
I
than
was
me.
out of town.
We were invited. For all city.
Board and commissions were invited.
Well, why didn't they go?
I don't don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
I'm,
they'll-
I'm comparing it to like the year before, they had an event at the library that was just for volunteers.
Yeah.
Board members, commission members, and while not everyone attended, because that's a lot of people, there was still quite a few people there, 20, 30, 40, and I go to this thing and I kind of felt outnumbered.
Yeah, I think, they were gonna be able to do that this year as a volunteer. So we wanted to utilize those funds to still include volunteers into the
And I thought it
budget.
was wonderful, and
Yeah.
the food was great, but you're sitting around with all of these city employees, and you don't know who they are. And,
Should I say hi? My name is Mark.
yeah, I know, but they, how do I put this? I didn't know the city employed so many people, using my words carefully, you know, who are out in the field and they're, you know, blue collar and they're moving stuff around and so when you show up like this, for the barbecue, you don't
Like,
like
oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know who all those people
So I don't know if that's still the plan for next year. They might go back to having just a reception for volunteers, but I think we just didn't want it to go on.
And the mayor did.
He was out of town.
He was out of town.
Oh, that was what got me, but I would have been other than that.
Yeah, we didn't, I mean, we even had a lot of. Stuff on.
Well, yeah, you can't shut down the city. I'm very interested in that, trucker trailer thing.
Yeah, it was borrowed.
You guys borrowed
Mhm.
from CCI Sphere,
Yeah.
loaned into the city for free. That is one cool thing.
It was for.
Three different three or four grills,
Mhm.
gas grills on that trailer. You just hook up a truck and they might be hearing from me in the future and that should be in here. She should definitely get credit for, you know, that corporation loaning their piece of equipment.
It'll be in the next
For
one.
that.
Yeah, she could,
Mhm.
yeah, the publishing of citywide barbecue would be cool to know about. Sure.
Well, not citywide.
Well,
I mean,
city employee,
yeah.
I don't know, some people don't like that kind of thing.
I see.
They see it as a,
Depends.
Extravagance.
How you.
Yeah,
It's an extravagance to have a
Depends
burger.
how you phrase it, and then if you really beefed up the connection that, I mean, make it sound like CCI Sphere was a sponsor, you know, they loaned this, so. As a thank you to city employees, maybe.
maybe just like a little fallout.
It sounds a little bit less like the city patting themselves on the back versus community recognition. Okay,
Do you have any other further comments?
enough for me.
Should adjourn at 1:09.
I need to get on this city attorney